right, man. What's going on? Yes. Give some people a minute to get in here. What's going on, man? Man said second line. I do a lot of content on Mondays, man. It's usually all day. I try to shoot several videos. A lot of times when I go live, I'm just practicing shit, man. Like it's for a video or something I'm gonna be doing. This for something I'm gonna be doing. So it's good to practice, man. Repetition is the mother of skill, right? So you want to practice a lot, whatever it is you do. Trading, investing, real estate, I practice a lot, man. I practice at this game of trying to find properties. And I do a lot of coaching with people, not a lot, but I do it where, I talk to them about their situation. How do we get them in this game? And the game that I'm talking about is real estate. Like, is it possible? Is it really something that's for everyone? Should you even do it? Like, that's just because other people are having success at something doesn't mean you should. And let me let you in on something. It's not always rosy. I've had many years where I lost money. I never hear people talk about that. I'm not the only one. Like, you're going to have losing years. You can lose money. It's pretty easy to lose money in real estate. Let's see. So, be careful. Anyone pitching you the idea that a lot of times you're going to hear this referred to, and this is basic, okay? So if you know all this, you probably don't even need to attend this, but single family, sometimes it's referred to as, you'll see it listed as SFH, single family housing, as opposed to, this is for investors, multifamily, right? Which would be multifamily, and they might list it different ways. But it's a single family means there's one door, one unit. Now, sometimes on these single family, maybe there's a piece of the house that's a 1-1, right? And whenever you see, these are things you're gonna need to know. 1-1 means one bedroom, one bath. Most of the time in a listing, you're gonna see it listed. Sometimes they may say 2 bedroom, 1 bath, but if you ever hear someone say, oh, it's a 2-1, they mean it's a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Okay, it's just short, it's lingo. Just like in trading, just like in any other form of investing, it has its own language. You want to spend some time learning that language, stuff like CapEx and return on equity and cash on cash. Do you need to know all these things? No, not at all. But it does help you to understand when you're listening to someone talk, okay? So you could have a single family or a single roof. Like you'll hear Grant Cardone talk a lot about don't have a single roof. All right, I guess. And let's say this side is a 2-1, and originally this was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. And now someone's come along and gutted it or changed it up, I'm saying, and now it's a 2-1/1-1, and maybe this side rents for $900 a month, and this side over here rents for $600 a month. And that's one way to get more square footage, more per dollar per square foot out of a house. And you heard me a lot of times when I coach or talk with someone, a lot of times it's funny, it's a very similar problem in that, look like my light came on. It's a very similar problem in that, and the reason I keep it since because I've had this conversation like 6 times this last 2 weeks. Someone having a $400,000 house, they only owe, $100. They got all this equity. They're going to move out and rent it. And that's a horrible idea because that's not how an investor would never rent a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. No, never. You would never do that. It's a horrific idea. And that's not real estate investing. That is, you own real estate and you are renting it, but you're not investing in real estate. You already own that property. Okay, that's different than what I'm trying to show you here, which is where I go out and look for properties, and I'm going to show you how I look for them. How I basically analyze them, and you can do the same thing where you live. Do it on paper, okay? Do it tonight. Go find one tonight and send it to me. Buy, how I go about buying it, how we manage it, and then fifth is how do we grow that, right? So we need to find them, and when we find them, we got to analyze it. Does it even meet our criteria, what we're looking for? 3, how are we going to pay for it, right? That's super important. That's talking about loans, most important. And then 4, how you're going to manage it, right? And then number 5, how are we going to grow it? And in the beginning, I can't stress enough, you should manage it. You should find it. You should do all the work. And it's really hard. And that's why very few people do it, because it's a lot of stress. It's a lot of work, okay? But this concept of 0 to 1 means if you can get to 1, you can get to 100. You just got to do what you did to get to 1 99 more times, right? Basic concept. If you can get to 1, you can get to 10. So if I could show someone how to buy their first house, they know now how to do it a bunch more times. And the guy that showed me literally showed me like this on a piece of paper. I didn't buy a course. I didn't get in a group. I didn't do any of that stuff. I just sat down with a guy who owned a bunch of properties, and he explained the basic overview of how to do it. And then he said, go grasshopper and do it. And that was it, man. And 0 to 1, meaning the goal's just 1. That's so easy. It's just 1, man. Like one. Like that's easy, man. 1, right? Just 1. And if somebody else can have 20, you can have 1. So the goal's not financial freedom. The goal's not, I want to buy so many I get rich. No, just 1. You just need 1, okay? 1. And we always need to be thinking, I just need 1 more. Just 1. Just keep it simple. Man, I just need 1 property. Just 1. And out of all of the houses, the millions and millions and millions of houses that are all over this country, do you think you could have 1? Yeah. It's getting easier as we think about it. And so the first step in all of this is that you got to believe that you can have 1. The first time you say, yeah, but, means you don't believe. You're going to say, yeah, but they're raising interest rates. Okay, you don't believe. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Don't worry about what anybody on YouTube said. Don't worry about what I say. Don't worry about what my friend Dan might say, or Mark, or Welby. Don't worry about what a bunch of rich guys are saying about real estate. It only matters what you say. That's the only thing that matters. So if you have 0, what some billionaire says has nothing to do with you, because he's playing a different game than you're playing. When he bought his 1, he didn't know any billionaires. When he bought his 1, he wasn't in any groups. When he bought his 1, he wasn't taking any courses. Meaning all this shit you're hearing, they weren't doing that. They weren't doing that, okay? So you're trying to buy 1. Could you conceivably believe that it's possible that you buy 1? And if you believe that, then we can do this, okay? But you've got to believe. And if you have some beliefs, some hang-ups, some filters that says, well, not in my area, then I can't help you. Just leave. Like, there's no point in watching. You've got to believe, regardless of what everyone says, that there is a deal for you, okay? Yeah, I believe there is one. And I always believe there's one. I say this, though, man, I need a house, man. And whenever I get money to buy a house, I walk around like, I need a house, man. Everyone I meet, man, I'm looking for a house. You know anybody for a house? Hello, I need a house. Like, I want to push that out to everyone. I need a house. When I met Robert Biggerstaff, a friend of mine, we still recording? I always feel like I'm not. So it starts number 1 with belief, okay? You've got to believe. If you don't believe that this is even possible, beliefs, if you think it's not possible due to whatever reason, then it's not. I've done some impossible shit in real estate. When I started buying it, I had no business buying it. I wasn't qualified to buy it. Whoever loaned me money was a complete moron. They should not have loaned me money. I'm not the person then that I am now. And the fact that someone even loaned me money surprises me, okay? I shouldn't even been doing it, to be honest. I wasn't in, a situation to be doing it. So whatever limiting factor you might have, I'm telling you, if you don't believe, you've got to believe in shit that seems impossible. You got to believe in miracles. You really do. And if you're not a believer in that, if you function inside of the world of practicality, like I believe what I see, Gerald, then you will not be able to do this game. Because you're going to need faith, man. You're going to need belief and faith. You really are. It's not about practicalities. The logistics of this is not complicated, okay? The practical steps is easy. That's not hard. Even something as simple as like fixing drywall, that's not hard, guys. That's just learning. Like, everyone here is perfectly capable of learning to do that. Now, you might not want to do that. So it's kind of hard to learn shit you don't want to do. So back to the beginning of 0 to 1, getting your first property is about believing that you could be a person that could hold a second property, okay? So we got to have belief. There's no point in going through the practicalities if we don't. And then 2, so that's 1, we got to believe we can. And number 2, we got to be set up to receive. And you say, what do you mean? Meaning, if you do find a deal, number 1, you got to find one, right? Number 2, we got to analyze it. So let's say you find one and you analyze it. Well, step 3 is you got to be able to buy it. In order to buy it, you got to be able to receive. You say, what do you mean? Receive other people's money. The money to buy the property is not your money. You're just doing a little bit. We're going to talk about that, 20%. Someone else is taking all the risk. This is the beautiful thing. You are not really taking any risk. People think all the time, that's risky. No, it's not. What's risky is loaning you money. That's what's risky. You believing in you comes with very little risk. So if you can't believe in you, I damn sure can't believe in you, right? So this game starts with belief in you, meaning you have to believe in you. If you don't believe that this is possible, why in the fuck would anybody loan you money? Like, see, so once you believe in you, you're going to carry yourself with a different feeling. You're going to begin to respond to things differently, because if you don't believe, first time you bump against something negative, you're like, man, I knew it. Man, I knew it. You literally manifested it. You should be shocked when something comes against your belief. Like, oh my God, what is happening? Like, what do you mean you do something different than that? Like, you should be shocked. Like, you need 100% belief in your ability to do this, okay? So I believe with all my heart, I could run 1,000 houses. Matter of fact, somebody should give me 1,000. Like, I deserve it. Like, I believe I could have 100 easy. I could easily manage 100, fucking easy manage 100 properties. Easy. Now, I don't have 100, but I think I could run 100 easily, right? What's the difference between 100 and 1? Nothing, right? Instead of 1 toilet, there's 100 toilets. What's the difference? Still a toilet. Nothing changed, just the numbers, right? Well, guess what else changed? The cash flow. Guess what else changed? The appreciation. Like, all that aside, like, if you can do 1, you can do 100. And to do 1, you just got to believe you can do 1. Then we got to set ourselves up to receive. What does that mean? Well, I mean, this is basic, but you'd be shocked to meet people I meet who don't have this basic. 1, you have a checking account. You're like, come on, Joe. No, I'm not kidding. You have actual real accounts with real banks. Okay? A real account with a real bank. Hold on, what's this say? We got a few people. Seems on this subscription we bang about 26 no matter what time of day I do it. I did it at night. It was a little bit more. It's interesting. All right. You say, what do you mean set up to receive? You have a checking account. It's in good standing with a bank that knows you. All right. You have credit. That'd be number 2. You have actual working credit. Like that, you know the score. It's good. It's above 70. Above 700. Below 700, you're going to struggle with this. Not impossible, but it's going to be a struggle. So if I'm saying I need to be set up to receive, what I mean I need good credit. I need to be able to receive. Easy peasy. Give me money. Good credit. That's easy. That makes the money flow. Easy. Which means I need good credit. So I need a checking account and I need good credit. Simple, right? Now, do I need a job? A lot of times people think, well, I don't have a W-2. Okay, that adds a little friction, but that don't make it impossible. Guys, I haven't had a job since I was 35 years old. And I buy houses. I mean, you see, you can do it. Back to this, belief. Is it harder? Yes, it's harder. They would rather loan someone at McDonald's that works at McDonald's because they have a W-2. It's perceived as safer. I don't know why, but it is. Which means you either go to different lenders, and whenever I start talking about, what about hard money? Look, man, whatever will get you going, do that, okay? Interest rate's not your problem, as we'll see. That's not what we're concerned with. I don't really care what the interest rate is. You know, I mean, I care, but regardless, I'm going to do the deals. Regardless, I'm going to do really, because when I analyze it, I'm going to factor all that in. And if the deal works, the deal works, whether the interest rate 20% or 2%. Doesn't matter. If it works, it works. Okay? So I need a checking account. Probably going to need some money in it, right? I need good credit, and I need proof of work. And if that's a W-2, good. In lieu of a W-2, if you're self-employed, you're going to need bank statements. And sometimes these are referred to as bank loans or checking account loans. That's what I got on my last deal, was a checking account loan, meaning I gave them 2 years of my checking account. Here's access to 5 different checking accounts for 2 years. That's a pain in the ass. I had to pull every single month on all 5 accounts for 2 years and send them in a file. Took days and weeks to get this loan through. So think of that. 5 accounts, 2 years worth of statements on 5 accounts. But I believe in myself. So I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to crawl on my belly. Isn't that what I said on the podcast? Are you willing to crawl on your belly? Are you willing to get scraped up a little bit? You have to be able to receive. So these checking accounts, in the beginning, you're not going to have 5, right? I have 3, 4 businesses, all these different partnerships, LLC, corporation. My shit's complicated. Your shit's not that complicated. In the beginning, I had 1 checking account, 1 bank, 2 credit cards, and a good credit. That's it. And a W-2 in the beginning. And then eventually I went to W-2 and self-employed, and then eventually just self-employed. So when people say, well, I'm self-employed, so it's harder. Yeah, it's because you don't believe in yourself. Back to the beginning, sir. Back to the beginning. You got to believe in yourself. You can get a loan without a W-2. So you have to set yourself up to receive, which means you need 2 years tax returns. 2 years tax returns. Okay? You say, well, I didn't file taxes. Well, you got to set yourself up to receive. Nobody's going to loan money to a guy who doesn't file taxes, right? You're not worthy of a loan. Nobody's going to give you money if you don't file taxes. So you have to set yourself up to receive. So it means if you're doing everything under the books. The problem with that is you're never going to make a lot of money because you can't grow wealth under the books. You can't invest lots of money. So let's say you made $200,000 under the books and you go out and invest 150 of it. They're going to want to know where that money came from eventually. You can't claim $30,000 and then invest 150 into your E-Trade account. They're going to catch on to that, okay? So you limit yourself to the wealth you can make by trying to avoid taxes, man. You paying your taxes will actually accelerate your wealth if you learn how to use the tax code to be a person who can accelerate their wealth, right? That's why we want to get into things like real estate. So don't fear the tax man. Pay your taxes. Learn about what's a good taxes. So you got to believe it's possible for you to go out and buy a house. If you're like, the prices are too expensive right now. Well, you don't believe then. You're off the list. Number 2, because I believe I could buy a house right now. That I could rent out to someone. I believe that. Now you might say, well, that's an unreasonable belief, Joe. I'm fucking unreasonable. That's what I'm trying to say. In order to play this game, you have to be unreasonable. You can't operate in logic. You got to push. You got to push, man. You're going to ask for unreasonable things from people. You're going to have to push. It's not reason. It's not logic. Pushing. Okay? So first we got to believe in ourselves. A little bit of ego might help you too. A little bit of arrogance. A little bit of I can get shit done. A little bit of that, man. Just enough. And you got to be set up to receive, right? Now that's pretty obvious. Checking account, W-2. Now once we have those, if you're like, well, I have that, Joe. I got a job. I got a little money. I got good credit. All right, well, good. Now we're ready, right? Now we're ready. This is how I look for properties. It's a big secret. It's a big secret. Now, my friend Mark, he mails things. I don't mail anything. But he buys a lot more properties than I do. So if I wanted to buy the volume he's mailing, I would probably need to do that. My man Welby, he does this. He puts in 30, 40 offers a month that don't get accepted. I bet nobody on here has put 30 offers in. None. I bet not one person on here has put 30 offers in real estate in a month. That's a lot, dude. But he gets up to do this, okay? Most of us don't get up to do this. If you did, though, it goes a lot easier. So here's what I do. This is how I find properties. I go to the Realtor app and I determine how much money do I have for a down payment. So if this house is, and don't start with the value of the house. I'm just trying to make this simple. If this house is 150 grand, 20%, right, is what? $30,000. So remember I said we need a checking account, right? We got a checking account and we got 30K in it. And we got good credit, right? We got 2 years of tax returns, right? So we're set up to receive. We're set up to receive. You've set yourself up to receive. You got the money, you got good credit, and you got evidence of that. Tax returns, bank account statements, in case people ask, okay? Right, now what? Don't start with the 150. I just need to show this so you see. I'm working off of 30. So if I got 30 grand to put towards real estate, don't look at what houses cost. How much money do you have? We're back to you. Don't worry about what some YouTuber's doing. Don't worry about what I'm doing. Don't worry about other people. Play your hand. God's dealt you cards. You're going to play the hand in front of you. Don't worry about what the poker player over here is doing. Worry about your hand. What is the best move for you? And so if you have 30K, you can buy 150K. That's it. That's the math. 20%. So if you had 60K, you could buy what? 30K, 300K. Basic math. You're putting 20% down. Not an FHA loan, not a VA loan, nothing else. I'm talking real estate investing here, not home buying, not house hacking. Actual investment, like you're an actual grown-up investor. Those guys don't get special government loans, guys. You're investing. The money down is the investment. So the money down is what qualifies you to be an investor. So the 30K you got in checking is the money that's going to buy the property. So then I'm going to go look. So now I know my down payment. What's 20% of, what's 30K 20% of 150? So I go to the Realtor app and I put in 150, 30 miles around my house. You say 30 miles? Yeah, 30 miles. That seems like a long ways away. I know. 30 miles. Draw a circle. 30 miles. At 150K. Now this is because you had 30,000, okay? And I want to only see houses that are 150K or below. That's it. So you go to the Realtor app or the Zillow app or the Redfin app and you change the filters to the number that's 20% of what you have in your checking account, right? Or what you plan to have, whatever number. You can make up a number and play with it, but you need to come up with that number so that you can receive, right? So once you do that, you set the filter, and if you want, set it for alerts. The only thing that vibrates my phone is real estate hitting the market. And I set an alert, and I let the app notify me. And I say anytime anybody puts any property for sale for 150K or less, ping me. I want to see it. They're going to start popping up, man. Within 30 fucking miles of your house, these properties will start popping up. It might be a trailer house by a river. Might be a fucking van on box down by the ocean. I don't know. But something's going to pop. And then you start looking at it. Now, you say, well, I live in Santa Barbara. Well, then we're going to have to need a bigger down payment. But I was in California and I saw plenty of houses in the 220, 230 range that were 20 and 30 miles outside of Los Angeles. So yeah, you might have to get off your ass and do a little extra legwork. I do it all the time. I will drive 8 miles, 8 hours to go to a property if I need to, if that's what needs to be done. One deal at a time, right? So if an old person will do that, a 28-year-old, come on, man. What are we talking about here? A road trip. Road trips are fun, man. Visiting other cities is fun. So if you truly live in an area where it is completely impossible, then I would consider leaving that area. That's what I've been doing because my numbers don't work anymore in my area for what I want to do. But when I say it doesn't work, I've been on this reel for 20 years getting notifications. So now I've changed the game. So in New Orleans, any property that lists for $350,000 or less inside of the French Quarter, in that little block, there's only 2,200 properties. Anytime one of them posts and it is under this number, my phone vibrates. I want to see. Why? I can afford that. Any property that hits, I want to see it. Now, I may not physically go watch it, but I want to see the listing. How big is it? How many square foot? Where's it at? I go pull it up on the map, right? Like you got to want it. You got to set yourself up to receive. What would be the down payment? $70K, which means I carry a mortgage for what? You subtract 70 from that, right? And you get what, 280? So the mortgage would be 280K. And then that's going to cost me some money, right? We're going to get to that part. I'm getting ahead of myself. You see what I'm saying? So maybe in your area, now, why 150? Why did I pick 150? Because in my area, when you get over 150, you can't rent those houses. And that's just from research. You can, but for me, they're not worth it. Meaning they cost more than you're going to make. You're going to lose money. In your area, that may be different. Like I was in Tennessee, and there was people paying $2,200, $2,300 a month rent, $3,000 a month rent. Okay, well, we can take the price up. In my area, my properties rent from $900 to $1,200 is the top end, $1,300 maybe. $900 to $1,300 max. This is a rural area. It's a rural southern area. It's much cheaper, okay? And not everywhere is expensive, guys. I post it on my story all the time. Places that are cheap. All you guys that are single, sitting on money, you're not going to these towns like Des Moines and moving on properties. You're just leaving millions of dollars on the table because I don't know why, man. Freaks me out. I don't know why if you have money and you're single, you wouldn't be going to those cities, man. I guess you're afraid to get rich. I don't know, man. It's just sitting there to be picked up. It's like money just sitting on the fucking table. All you gotta do is get up and go. Like, it's so simple. It's so simple. Now, most of us aren't single with money. Like, most of us have baggage and kids and wives and husbands, and you just don't have a life like that, okay? I get it. That's why you gotta start at home, okay? So, one, we gotta find the property. You know, that's my strategy, guys. That complicated. I want to see the listing of every house that I have the money to actually buy. So if I have 30 grand down, I can go to 150. Maybe I push this to 170 and just see if I can't find a real dump for 170 and then bang them down another 20 after we inspect it. You might can do that, but don't get crazy with that. You're not going to get a 300,000 one and get them to come down. That's not going to work. But you go one, maybe a little higher. Maybe you go 10, 20,000 higher. Here's the thing, 20,000 higher. So instead of 150, this is a lesson I learned as a kid. I was like, well, I want to bid 150. And the next guy bids 151 and he wins the deal. And I'm like, well, I stood my ground. Okay. You know what 1 grand comes to when we're putting 20% down over 30 years? Meaning he stole the house from me for about 50 cents in real terms, or a couple bucks in real terms, maybe 10 bucks. Maybe 10 bucks. You say, what do you mean? Meaning the mortgage difference on a $151,000 house and $150,000, so he bid $1,000 more than me, could have come to like $10 a month on the mortgage payment. Now, let that think on this for a second. The number of deals that I've lost because a guy outbid me $1 grand. He didn't pay the $1 grand. He's not paying it. He's putting 20% down. So what's 20% of 151,000? Well, that would be $30,200. So while he bid $1 grand more, he only came out of pocket like $200, man, if that, man. So keep that in mind. It's not the total price of the house that matters. It's what can the house rent for, right? That's, at the end of the day, that's the most important number, not the price of the homes. It's the 20% down and what can I rent it for? That's what you need to know. The most important numbers are the down payment. And this is in my humble opinion, right? Number 2, what is the rent? Super important. If you don't know that, it is a lot of people worried about real estate don't know the rent. That is the only fucking number that really, really matters. Because if you can't rent it and you overpaid for it, you're going to lose money. So getting cheap houses, if you have cheap rent, doesn't mean anything. If you can get expensive houses and get expensive rent, that's good too, man. So we need to know our rent. Super important. You say, how do I know my rent? Because I get asked this all the time. The same app. I go to Realtor, Zillow, or Redfin. I use all 3. You don't need all 3. Because if I find a slight arbitrage, sometimes a property will list on one that doesn't show up yet on the others for a day or 2, and I can jump on it. So I'm watching all 3. Now, rent. You go to the same app and you click for rent. And there's the rent. And that's what people are asking for rent. So if you know an area you want to buy in or a neighborhood you want to buy in through your research, so every time I'm using this 150 as an example. Every time that pops up, I'm going to go look on the map. And I'm going to say, where's this at? And I want to go look. And if you really want to get into it, drive over there. Learn the city that you're looking at. When I was buying in Florida, I was watching drone footage of Panama City Beach. At night, I would watch drone footage. And I'm like, oh, look, there's the Starbucks. So when I went there, I'm like, oh, that Starbucks, you know what's on the other side? Like, I'd already watched it. I'm trying to learn the city. Now, that's a smaller city. The French Quarter, I know inside now. I know all the buildings. I know where the house of the guy that used to own the New Orleans Saints. Like, I know where Jimmy Buffett's house was. I know where, I know weird shit. Why? I'm trying to internalize it. I want to know where it's at. So when they name a street, they say Dauphine Street. Oh, I know exactly where that's at. Oh, those houses over there go for a little bit more. A little bit more, not much, but a little bit more than on this street. What am I doing? I'm trying to internalize it, right? I'm trying to set myself up to receive. I got to believe. I got to believe that I can own a $2 million building in the French Quarter. Right now, logistically, it's out of the realm of possibility. But does that mean I can't believe that I could own one? Oh no, I could own one and run it. All I got is this little fucking problem called money. I'll find the money. Lord has a way of giving me money. Shit, they print it. Money's free. I'll find the money. Other people have my money that I need for the building. I've got to believe that I can even be an owner of the building, right? And in order to believe that, I need to understand it. How's it work? How do you get permitted? How many people live here? Where's the school? Where's this? Where's that? Like, this is the stuff that's going to get you the house. Not crying about how expensive they are. Because even if they come down, if you don't learn these skills and you don't learn how to find properties, you don't learn how to analyze properties, and you're not set up to receive, even if they come down, you won't get one. Somebody else is already going to beat you to it because they're ready. I'm ready all the time. And guys like Mark are ready all the time. Welby's ready all the time. Dan's ready all the time. Even if prices are over, I'm still looking. And so I'm going to look, and if prices do come down, I'm going to keep looking. And at some point, they're going to hit my parameter, and I'm going to start buying. I'm not trying to time the market. I'm trying to time deals. Find deals that'll cash flow. Okay? And I don't need the most perfect deal. I need a deal. I need a deal. Just a deal that works. Right? I'm not in love with these. I'm not marrying the house. I just need a deal. One house. And then what? Then another one house. And then what? Another one house. And I just keep needing one house. And that's not that hard. One house. So you have to believe, can you do it? So down payment, super important. If you don't have a down payment, you can't play this game. I'm sorry. You need money. Number 2, you need to know the rent. But knowing the rent doesn't keep you from having a down payment. So usually the first question I ask people when they say they want to do real estate, I say, what is the rent price? Most people hem and haw. I know this person's full of shit. They haven't done the first basic study. They don't even know what their product would rent for, right? So I know, at least, maybe not full of shit isn't the right term. I know they're not ready yet. They're just watching people. Like, they're not ready yet. They're not set up to receive. They haven't done the real stuff, right? The real thing is, what is the rent? That's what you need to know in your area. What is the rent? And then I only need 20% of the price, man. I don't need the whole damn thing, just 20%, right? And then what? Then other numbers you're going to need to know is insurance. This is super easy to know, not a big deal. You can literally call an insurance company and say, hey, I think I'm fixing to buy this house on, 825 Burgundy. It costs this much. Can you give me a quote? And they'll give you a number. Good. In my area, I know what about a $150,000 house, what the insurance is on that. Property taxes, you can Google it. What's property taxes for my area? It's based on the value of the home. Super easy, right? What'd you say? No, I'm recording. I'll do it in a minute. I'm recording. So, insurance, easy number to know. Call an insurance agent. Mess with them. I talk to these people all the time, man. I spend fucking $20,000 a year on insurance. Like, I'm always with these people. They drive me crazy. Insurance, right? And then property taxes. We got taxes on everything. And then, and I'm jumping ahead here, but these are just numbers you're going to want to know. Maintenance. Maintenance is unknowable. It's not unknowable, but it's kind of unknowable. And you say, what do you mean? A water heater has a life expectancy. My friend Robert Biggerstaff knows his numbers better than anybody I ever met. I mentioned drywall. He said, he told me the price. I was like, what? And he goes, are you talking 3/4 or 1/2 inch? Like he knows the price at Home Depot. And I said, well, 2x4. He goes, are we doing pine or treated? He knows the price. I never met anyone that knew the numbers from financing all the way down to the price of nails. Like he knows his numbers. It's freaky how well he knew his numbers. I don't know my numbers that good, but I have a general idea of maintenance. I allocate 50 to 75 bucks a door. That's not enough, and sometimes it's enough. Because some houses, you'll never get a call. Like they'll live there 5 years, never call you. Nothing. You're like, wow. Another house, it'll be every other fucking day. And when you meet people who have horrible stories in real estate, honestly, usually it's because they had a hell house. One of their properties ate their lunch. If you have one rental, you could lose money for years and years and years. You say, what do you mean? What if you, guys, insurance isn't the only people that buys roofs, right? You're not going to just get to fuck your insurance company all the way and have them pay for everything. That's not how it works. They'll drop you. As an investor, they'll drop you. You start filing a lot of claims as an investor, they'll drop you. And then you got a problem. So you're not going to get all your new roofs from filing on insurance. Like you might actually have to pay for one. And let's say your house is generating $200 a month cash flow and you got to buy a $6,000 roof and you got to pay cash. You don't get to write that off your taxes. That's prorated. That improves the value of the home. That's going to be written off over 27.2 years, man. Right? Unless you can get special depreciation, but that's a whole tax conversation. I mean, now you're going to have to what? Start learning taxes, right? So to find a property, we covered it. Start with the value of the home. I mean, not the value of the home. Start with the down payment. So if you have 20 grand, you can buy 100K. Put and see what comes up. You say, Gerald, nothing came up. You need more money. Keep playing with that number until some properties come up, okay? These aren't properties your mom's going to live in. We're not doing 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. We're doing little bitty houses. Little houses. People probably don't stay there too long, man. Or they're living there because they can't afford other stuff. That's what we're looking for. Not Taj Mahals, not Airbnbs, man. We're looking for just cheap, basic. I'm looking for shitty houses that I can make pretty. That's what I'm looking for. The more fucked up, the better. I want to walk in and see cracks everywhere. I want to see, maybe, hopefully I see some rats, bunch of roaches. I want the floor jacked up. That's what I want to see, because then I can get in there and work myself and get some sweat equity, and I can bang them down on the price, and I can fix it over time. We're not going to try to fix it next week. So when I buy it, I might sit on the house for 4 months while I work on it. 5 months. It's a project. There's no rush. And you say, well, who's going to make the payment? Me. It's my house. It ain't no big deal. I'm going to get it back over time. So there's not a rush. I'm not flipping a house like on TV. Right? So I may buy a house and I've bought houses and then went on vacation. We'll get to it when we get back, man. You get what I'm saying? Like there's no rush. You own it. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Don't listen to what they're telling you, right? You got to play your hand. And if it takes you 4 months, takes you 4 months. It takes you 1 week, it takes you 1 week, right? So there's no right or wrong here, and you're playing your hand. So I want to find all the properties that I have the money to put down. And then I want to know what is the rent price. And once those properties come up, let's say you find a property, we'll go put that address in and click the for rent on the button on Zillow or Realtor or Redfin. And you'll see houses for rent around this house. And you'll know what they can rent for. And then you'll know it. Hey, with this down payment, if I collect that much rent, will it cover insurance, taxes, maintenance, and the mortgage? And if it does, what's left over is called cash flow. The flow of cash, the beautiful thing called cash flow. Cash flow is usually rated on a per door basis. How many properties do you have? Most people. Now, my friend Welby gets the most cash flow of anybody I've ever heard of. Like, it's mind-blowing. But he also puts in 30 to 50 offers a month. A month. I've never done that. I've never done that. The most I put in maybe 20. If that, man. I don't know if I've ever even done that, man. He also has partners, and he's doing it bigger, right? But that's possible. You could do that. So that's how I find properties. Are there other ways to find? You can mail. There's all this wholesaling shit. You could go take a wholesaling course. The only reason I would even consider wholesaling is to figure out how they find properties. That's the only value to that shit to me. I would never wholesale a house. I know my friend Mark does it, but to me, why am I going to sell a house that's a perfectly good property that I could rent? So to me, it doesn't make sense. Other people, it makes sense. If they're doing a big operation, you got employees, you need to generate cash flow, I get it. But for me, it makes no sense at all. I would never wholesale. I want to buy them for me. And if anything, I'd fix them up and flip them myself. So learning wholesaling might not be a bad idea for yourself, or as a way to get money for the down payment, I guess. I don't know, man. I guess. I've found houses talking to people. My friend Dan just got a condo down in Florida because the condo association, he's cool with them. And they called him and said, hey, Dan, there's a resident going to be selling his property. I mentioned your name to him. Do you want his number? Dan said, yeah. Bada boom, bada bing. No realtor. He buys the thing at a decent price, and they save doing a realtor commission. That's people knowing what you're doing, right? So don't be secretive about it. That's one way. So once you start buying property, tell everybody, man. Everybody I meet, dude. Every single person I meet, I say, yeah, I own 17 properties. Yeah, I'm a stock trader. Like, I tell everyone this. Why? Because I don't know what that may lead to. Could lead to a deal. That could be how I get my building in New Orleans. One guy tells another guy and goes, well, I know this dude, and that in conversation. I don't know. So it doesn't hurt to tell people. So I tell them. I know there's this theory out there, hide from your tenants. That's total nonsense to me. I just can't get my mind around that. I hide from my tenants. I don't want to hide from people giving me money. That doesn't make any sense. So finding the property, not that hard. Start with the down payment, not the price of the house, right? Do the conversion that I showed you. You're doing 20% down. You can back out the math. So if you got 30K, you're looking for 150K properties or less. If you got 60K, you're looking for 300. Up. That's how we're going to find them. Along with finding is learning the area. I'm just going to assume that's a given. Analyze the deal. For me, this is super simple. This could be as complicated as you want to make it. And it's right here. How much am I collecting in rent? That is number one. So let's say on this house for $1,500, let's use it as an example. Now this is rough math, okay? I'm not sitting in front of my thing with pre-written notes. And on this one door, let's say this is a 3-1, right? We paid and I'm using basic math here. 150, I put 30 down. That means I'm carrying a note for 120K. I'm going to say insurance on this is at least 150, maybe 175. Taxes are probably, then maintenance. I'm going to say we're on the hook for 800, maybe to 900, possibly. And maybe we get that down. Maybe we can get that down, depending on where you live. And, there are wildfires or there's storms. If you live in New Orleans, your insurance might be a little higher than if you live in Nebraska, right? Like, there's things that'll make these, and your local area, New Orleans taxes are super cheap. Some areas taxes are super high, but insurance is cheap. And then, so we can play with a lot of this. But the goal is, for me, I need $200 per door. Is that a hard fact? No. That's the general basic principle. I need $200 a door. You say, what do you mean? Meaning I need $200 a door, man. Now remember, this is just the beginning. We're going to get more per door. As you own it, it goes up. It's called inflation. So this is why you want to own these things. They're inflationary assets. Stocks that pay dividends, every time you get a dividend, they're giving your money back. Every time you collect this $200, you get a little bit back of the $30,000 we put down. So every time we get a little cash flow, we get some of our money back. Get it? Here's your money back. Thanks for being my landlord. Hey man, thanks for being my landlord. Let me give you $200. That's what you're doing. Now what you're doing is you're on the hook for the maintenance, the taxes, the insurance, and the rent, which means you got to raise your hand, which goes back to number one. You got to believe in you. Means I'm on the hook for 17 houses. If there's a storm, a rain, if the thing breaks, think of that. Every day I wake up, all these fucking people want me to make sure their house works fine. That's the responsibility. And for doing that, they bring me their money. And that's the arrangement we have. That's the landlord-tenant arrangement. I take care of the property, they give me money. You got to believe in yourself, though. It's stressful, man. It's stressful. Not everybody's a good tenant. Not every local municipality treats real estate with respect, right? You're going to have to push back on people. People are going to push on you at times. You got to push back. So I'm going to say, and I'm rough math for this, I'm looking at about 800 to 900 on this 120. Maybe we could play with that, get the rate down a little bit, things we could do. Now, what I'm trying to do is to rent this for 200 more than that. Now, if on a $150,000 house, I can rent it in this scenario for $1,300 to say $1,500. I don't know if we can, but if we can at least get the $1,300. Now, if we could get $1,500, that'd be nice. But let's say we can get $1,300, which you should be able to get. Is that more than $900? Well, yeah, that'd be $400 more than $900. Well, you say, well, in my area, that only goes for $1,200. Okay, so it's $1,200, and our loan is between $800 and $900 with taxes, insurance, and mortgage, and a little maintenance. Well, we'd have to set aside a little maintenance. Probably $50 is what I'm thinking. But my goal is to have this be 200 plus. If we can get it to 300, 400, even beautiful. And I meet people all the time, hey man, I'm getting 4. What? Great, beautiful. And that's the goal per door. So when I go through this math, down payment, how much can I collect in rent, how much is generally for insurance, generally for taxes, and that's usually a formula, 1.2% of the house. You say, what do you mean? Multiply 1.2 times 150 grand. So when they keep raising the value of your home, they can say to you, we didn't raise your taxes. Your taxes are 1.2%. We didn't raise them. The value of your home went up. They can say, we didn't raise your taxes. Tax rate's still the same. The value of the house went up. So that's not them raising your taxes, right? That's how they get around that. And then, our little bit of maintenance. Maintenance is the unknown cost. You may pay very little. You may get a tenant that fixes all the shit themselves. I get those sometimes. Then you get the tenant that when the wind blows, they're calling you. Hey man, there's leaves in the yard. Like you're going to have tenant, that's a whole different class. But this is, so down payment, rent, insurance, taxes, and maintenance. Let's back this up a second. Whew. Come on, man. I get excited when I talk about this. This is sexy stuff, man. Let me tell you. It's because it carries out, man. Once I had a guy say to me, "Why $200, man?" I'm like, "It don't stay 200, bro. We're gonna raise it and raise it and raise it." And then that's a whole nother thing. We get into the math of the loan pay down and the property appreciate. The total return begins to widen. It's pretty impressive when you watch it over paper, over 3 or 4 or 5 years. Now you multiply it by 5 or 6, 7 doors, and that's how you get rich. But it starts with 1. Number 2, which we just did, didn't we? Yeah, we analyzed it. That's what we did there. So we analyzed the property. Now buying it, we've kind of talked about this. A lot of this is happening at the same time. So we find it, Talked about the Realtor app, the Zillow app, and the Redfin app, right? And you could say, like, before you get into all this mailing and doing all this tricky shit that gurus do the basics, man. Just do the basics. Run the apps, okay? And then we want to analyze it with what I just said. With the end goal is I need 200 a door, okay? That's middle. Would I take less? Maybe, depending on the area. Would I take more? Of course. Number 3 is, to buy it. In other words, financing. For me, I just go to a regular bank. I've only ever used 2 banks. You need a relationship with your bank, man. Go in there, sit down with the mortgage guy and say, listen, I want to buy some rental properties. Am I set up to receive? What can I do to make you give me money? And have that conversation. Don't go to a mortgage broker, okay? If you can avoid this, I would avoid it on your first few properties. Mortgage brokers are going to get you the loan and they're going to sell that shit off to somebody. That's not who I want to send you to. I would like you to go to an in-house person, meaning they're going to keep the loan in-house. That allows you to build a relationship. So I had at one time almost $1 million with one bank, a local bank. They like me. And I could pick them up and I could call Lori. Hey, Lori, it's Gerald. That was the relationship. Any normal mortgage broker out there, they work for a company and they're trying to turn your loan. I'm not against that. I'm not mad at them. But that's not the relationship that I'm looking to build. One thing about a hard money lender that I do like, Welby uses some. If you ever get his course, he tells you in there who he uses. In there, they like loaning money to people like this. They don't care you don't have a job. They want to know, do you know how to find property, analyze property, buy it? You're obviously there with them to buy it. Do you know how to manage it? And can you grow the portfolio? That's all they care about. And you can prove to people that by buying one house. If you can buy one successfully, then you've proven that you have the ability. And more opportunities will open up to you as far as lending, maybe buying in other areas. You now have leverage and options, okay? Shocking what one house can do for you in 3 to 5 years. Shocking. I mean, one house will increase your net worth $100,000 in 3 to 5 years. Just one property. Now, and I have people that I've shown this to within 3 or 4 years buy 5. So you know what happens to them in the next 3 to 4 or 5 years? I mean, it's $500,000 difference. I mean, it's shocking what'll happen when you figure this out. So I would start at a local bank. Now, here's who I would not use. Bank of America. I would rather fucking shoot myself. JP Morgan, all those big banks, no. Don't use them for anything, man. They're too stupid to do business with. Nope, all you are is number 167433276. That's who you are to them. I would not do business with them. That would include Wells Fargo. That would include any large bank I would not do business with when it comes to this. Not for buying single family real estate. You will get fucked. I promise you. You will not come out on top. Matter of fact, when they find out you're buying for investments, they're going to cut you off at house 2 or 3. They don't want your business. That is not who you want to use. Go find a local bank. And guess what? You might have to go talk to 7 or 8 banks. Like push. Go find a bank and tell them, hey, if I move all my accounts here, I'll move my own mortgage here. Will that make you feel better? Like, get a relationship with the bank and don't cheat the bank, man. The bank is your partner. I give my bank $2,000 a month in interest. I love the bank. The bank made me a millionaire. They're my partner. They never call me. They don't ask for shit. All they want is their little cut every month. That's it. They want their little cut. And for that, they've invested 80% in me. They invested in me, not my dad. My dad didn't loan me the money to do this. If I'd have said, hey, Mom, can I get, I want to buy this 150, go ask your parents. Hey, this house is 150 grand. I got 30 of it. Why don't you float me for the other 120? You love me. You gave birth to me. You brought me into this world. You're the one that said I could do anything. Why don't you back me on that call? Why don't you be the bank? See how fast that goes. I bet they don't take that deal. Yeah, but the bank will take that deal, man. So the bank's your friend. A lot of people hating on banks. That's because they don't know how to use banks. Now, I do hate on the big banks because they suck. But small regional banks can be your friend, man. They can make you wealthy if you let them. But you have to deserve it. You say, what do we mean? Like we said, you got a checking account with them. Don't cheat them. Let them make some money. Number 2, you got good credit, right? So you got good credit. Number 3, what? You got money in there. Like, be a good steward. That's it. So simple, right? And then believe in yourself. And you know, so we've gone through finding a property, analyzing a property, buying it. I would start with a local bank before I went to a mortgage. Most of these online mortgage brokers, the moment the loan, they're going to sell it, man. You're going to have these confusion. Who's got my loan? Who doesn't? Now, that's not me talking bad about them. I'm talking about your first rental property. I would like to see you go to a local bank because guess why? They'll do deal 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You start going to some of these brokers and you get up into that, they're not wanting to do business with you. They don't trust you. Matter of fact, you can't even have 10. 10 is the most mortgages you can have. I still have people that go, Gerald, how do I get a second mortgage? Number 1, they don't believe. They don't believe you're allowed to have more than one mortgage. Somebody put the belief in their head that you can't have more than one mortgage. I've had 10. So I don't know who put that belief in their head. They don't believe in themselves, so they can never do real estate. You're allowed to have 10. Once you get to 10, there's little tricks you can do. That's another how I got around that. Managing it. So buying it, try to go as local as you can if possible. You should be able to find a local bank. I'm telling you, this has worked great for me. My friend Mark's only ever done hard money lending, and he has 50-something properties. He's flipped, 100 houses, and he's only done hard money lending. So it doesn't have to be a bank, okay? Doesn't have to be. Number 4, managing. I self-manage, man. This is where I scare people. This is where all the tough guys get scared, get queasy, afraid their tenants will yell at them or something. I don't know what you're afraid of when it comes to tenants. Sometimes people say, well, I'm too busy. I don't know what the fuck that means. I've never been so busy that I couldn't take money from a tenant. I've never been so busy with life that I couldn't manage millions of dollars in real estate. I'm pretty sure Donald Trump didn't go, man, I would run for president, but I'm so busy. Like, you got to get that shit out of your head, man. I'm too busy. Like, you can't be too busy to get rich. Like, you've got to get rid of that stuff out of your head. A lot of people do that, though. These first properties, you need to manage yourself. Don't worry about what Grant Cardone says or this guru or that guru or I get more value for my bullshit. You don't get any value for your time when you're off sitting at home in a chair. There's no value there. Your time is not that damn valuable. Get all that out of your head. Because the problem with that theory that your time is valuable, you would never write a book. Nobody pays you to write a book. Matter of fact, I wrote The Money Flow 5 years ago. Nobody paid me. And then it sat on a shelf. So if I followed the theory that my time, I would have never wrote the book, man. Most of the things that are going to make you the most money, nobody's going to pay you to do them. Nobody pays me to watch Redfin and Zillow. And no one pays me to go look for properties. Nobody pays me to sit and analyze, could this deal work out? Nobody pays me to put $30K in my checking account to move on the deal, right? So yeah, nobody's going to pay me to. So when it comes to management, it's 10 to 12% right off the top, dude. To collect money. Like, you need to learn that skill. Be your own manager. That's going to give you a 10% bump immediately. So imagine my 17 properties. Now I only need managers on 15. But let's say I got management on 15 properties. And the manager gets $200 a door. I'm going to pay someone $3,000 a month to collect money from me? Come on, man. That's crazy. Takes me like 20 minutes a month. 20 minutes a month for me to collect rent. You know what's funny? Today, and I'll do this in another video. I don't cover too much in one video. I'm trying to keep it simple right here. I do all my rent collection online. All the applications online. Everything is online. Like the rent, the money, like all that nowadays, you don't have to take credit card. I used to take all cash, anything, man. Cash App, Venmo, whatever. How you want to pay. Zello? Hold on, let me get the app. Cool. Pay me that way. Like, you want it frictionless. You just need them to pay you. Cash, rubles, whatever you want to pay in, euros, that's what you want to get paid in. Make it easy for them. Manage the properties yourself. That gives you a 10% bump. I know there's a lot of people that teach against this. Those people are wrong in my opinion. And number 5 is simple. We got to grow this. How do you grow it? Go back to number 1. 0 to 1. And I can't stress enough. Belief. You have to believe this is possible. You have to believe that you can earn, what's the word for it? Unordinary. Like, you have to believe it's possible to receive money differently than other people. Like, you have to believe it's possible. And once you believe it's possible, that's literally half the battle. Like, I believe that it's possible. And I can experience this in my own. It's easy to say shit. I could, like, okay, that's one thing. But then being realistic, like, is that even possible? Because after we go from belief, we then go to number 2, right? Are you set up to receive? So if I was being honest, do I believe I could own an apartment building? Well, I could say yeah. But then I got to ask myself, am I set up for that? Am I set up to receive it? Because my brain goes to that. And it's like, no, I'm not. Right? So I got to fix that part, right? These are going to kind of go together. And it's not that it needs to be logical, but in order for me to believe, I've got to be able to take some steps that'll make that happen. And when it comes to a single door, you just need to know rent and your down payment. Do you believe you could have a checking account? Yes. Do you believe you could have good credit? Yes. Do you believe you could put money into that checking account? Yes. All right. Do you believe you could download and use the Realtor app? Yes. So as we go down this list, we have everything we need. And at some point, we're going to hit a spot where it's like, no. You go, what do you mean? Well, I don't have the down payment. All right. Well, let's stop there. That doesn't stop you from looking. Because I've found that in life, when you start looking, start thinking, start talking about, somehow shit happens. Somehow you find the money. Somehow this and that happens. So that as you're thinking, that's how you manifest. And Science of Getting Rich says that whatever thoughts you hold in form and substance, those are the things that manifest in your life. So if you will hold that thought, you can't let it be shaken out. You got to hold the thought. And find what's making you think, no, I can't. And let's go see, is that shit real? Because you're going to have to believe some out of the ordinary shit. Like if you just, I grew up in a trailer park, man. I didn't go to college. I went to the Army. And I don't have any high paying skills. And I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I met a guy that was wealthy and he didn't go to college. And he explained to me real estate. And I showed him what I was doing. I was already hustling. So I had that part. And I was working and I was mowing. And he was like, and I said, I got $14,000. Which back in the day, 21 years ago, 14 grand would be like having what? 30 grand. That's what I had in checking. And he goes, well, man, why do you want 30 grand in checking? That don't make sense. And he began to break this down for me about the house, right? And the $200 a door. I think back then, though, he said $100 a door. I'm pretty sure that's what he told me. I wanted $100 a door. And he told me, and then back then, we didn't look on Zillow or Realtor or Redfin. We looked on the MLS, which that takes you to the MLS today. And we actually called realtors who would then drive you around and shit. Like, but it was more cumbersome. Today, it's faster. That's why there's more competition. It's faster. Everybody can access the same information. So all you got to do on your part is get yourself set up to receive and then start looking. Go find some deals tonight. Look in Realtor or tomorrow, whatever. I know some of you are slow. And I know you're busy. I'm so busy, Gerald. It's so busy. I'm so hard. It's so hard for me. I'm busy. It's so hard being busy. Busy being broke. Go look and do a 30-mile radius of your home, and play with this number. Do the 30. I got 30K for 150 and see what comes up. I had a guy tell me, oh, you can't find any in my house, in my area, Gerald. I said, really, where you live? And he told me. And guess what I came back with? I said, bullshit, I found a mobile home park. Ha-ha. I can't even draw a trailer. He's like, what do you mean? I can rent that mobile home. Yeah, come on now. You can't rent mobile homes? Like, is that my go-to? No, but if I lived in an area where I couldn't afford houses, it would be. You know, maybe Section 8, go to the ghetto, go to the meanest, ugliest place and start there. Like, look, 30 miles around. And you may have to think outside the box, but in most areas within 30 miles, you're going to find properties. Now, some of those properties may not be great. We're just looking and we're analyzing. What is the insurance? What are your taxes? What is the mortgage going to be? Go to a mortgage calculator, put it in. The mortgage calculator probably give you the taxes and the insurance, right? Don't fill out the lead thing. People will start calling you. But start doing those numbers and see, could I find one? Now, I didn't go over repair costs and all that. That's a different video. We'll do other videos. This is just to get you to believe. Like, it's not that difficult. If we have these steps, find, analyze, buy, and manage, and grow it. 0 to 1, man. 0 to 1.